You know, when you walk into a hospital, you're putting your trust in the people there. But behind the amazing doctors and nurses, there's this hidden system, a kind of silent guardian, working around the clock to protect every single patient. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and show you exactly how this system works and why it's one of the most critical parts of modern medicine that almost nobody talks about. Okay, I want you to just take a look at this number for a second. 250,000. It's a really staggering figure, and what it represents is one of the biggest and, frankly, most tragic challenges that we face in healthcare today. So, what is it? That's the estimated number of people who die every year in the US, not from some incurable disease, but from preventable medical mistakes. To really put that into perspective, it's like a fully loaded jumbo jet crashing, with no survivors every single day of the year. Which leads us to this really tough question, right? How can a system that's filled with brilliant, dedicated people, a system literally designed to save us, sometimes end up causing unintentional harm? Well, the answer isn't about blaming individuals. It's about fixing the system itself. And that is exactly where our silent guardian comes into play. It's a whole discipline called healthcare quality management. Think of it as the invisible architecture, the behind-the-scenes framework that's designed to make healthcare safer and better for all of us. So what is it really? Well, it's a systematic approach. And that word, systematic, that is everything. It means that safety and quality aren't just a happy accident. They are deliberately and carefully designed into every single process, from the second you check in to the moment you go home. And this whole system is really built on these 7 core pillars. It all kicks off with a relentless focus on the patient. They are the center of everything. Then you absolutely need committed leadership and for every single person in the organization to be engaged. It's about looking at healthcare as a series of connected processes, each one a chance for improvement. And that improvement has to be constant, driven by real data, evidence-based decisions, not just hunches. Finally, it's about managing relationships with everyone involved. You put these all together and you've got a powerful framework for excellence. And look, these pillars aren't just some nice-sounding ideas on a poster. They are the actual foundation for internationally recognized blueprints for quality. You can think of them like the architectural plans that hospitals and health systems use to build their own safety systems. So there are a few different blueprints out there that organizations use. You've got things like ISO 9001, which is a general standard that's adapted for healthcare. Then there are the JCI standards, which are hyper-focused just on hospitals. And you have the World Health Organization's framework, which is much more global. The point is, they're all different roads leading to the exact same destination: safer, higher quality care. Okay, so a blueprint is great, right? But you can't build a house without tools. Well, quality management has this incredible toolkit that's basically for doing detective work, finding problems, fixing them, and a lot of the time preventing them from ever happening in the first place. And one of the absolute workhorses of this toolkit is something called the PDSA cycle: Plan, Do, Study, Act. It's basically the scientific method, but applied to making healthcare better. Instead of making some huge, risky change all at once, you plan a small test, you do it, you study the results, and then you act on what you learned. It's this really simple but powerful loop for constantly getting better. Now, this detective work happens in 2 ways: before a mistake can happen and after one does. Proactively, teams use a tool called FMEA. They basically map out a process and ask, where could this go wrong? And then they build in safeguards. But if something does go wrong, they reactively use something called a root cause analysis, or RCA, to dig way down deep, find the real reason it happened, and make sure it can never, ever happen again. And this is my absolute favorite way to think about it all. It's called the Swiss cheese model. The idea is that no single person or process is perfect. They all have little holes in them, just like Swiss cheese. So the goal of quality management is to stack up multiple layers of defense, different policies, technologies, checklists, so that the holes almost never line up and let an error get through to the patient. Okay, so all this theory, all these models, does it actually work in the real world? Does it save lives? Oh, absolutely. Let's look at some proof. This is the Silent Guardian in action. All right, check this out. This is a real case from a big hospital. They were struggling with a really serious problem: infections from central lines. Those are the heavy-duty IVs for really sick patients. Their infection rate was 3.2 per 1,000 patient days. But then they applied these quality management principles, and just look at what happened. They drove that rate all the way down to 0.7.
That is a huge drop.
I mean, we're talking about a 78% reduction in potentially deadly infections. And that's not just a number on a chart, right? That represents real people, real families who were protected from a devastating complication because the hospital systematically made its process better. And here's something that often surprises people. It's not just about saving lives, which is obviously the most important thing. Better care is almost always cheaper care. In this one case, it saved the hospital over $800,000 a year. So how'd they do it? Was it some billion-dollar machine? Nope. It was a system of simple, smart changes. They created a bundle of proven best practices, a standardized cart so all the supplies were in one place, a mandatory checklist, and, this is key, they empowered nurses to stop the whole procedure if a safety step was missed. Small things, huge results. Okay, here's another one I think we can all relate to: waiting in the emergency room. A community hospital had an average wait time of 4.5 hours. Ouch! By applying quality improvement methods, they were able to slash that wait to under 2 hours. That is a 60% reduction. And just think about what that feels like when you're the one who's sick or scared or in pain. As you'd expect, patient satisfaction scores shot up by 35%. And get this, the hospital completely stopped having to turn ambulances away, meaning they could serve their community way more effectively. So the next time you're in a hospital and you see a nurse scanning a medication barcode or a team huddled around a whiteboard, it's so easy to just think, oh, more paperwork, more bureaucracy. But it's not. It is the science of safety in action, systematically weaving this net of protection around every single patient. And that's the real takeaway here. This stuff doesn't just happen. It's not an accident. Getting to this level of excellence requires a deep, real commitment from the very top leaders. It needs every single staff member to be engaged, and it takes persistence to just keep getting better, day in and day out. So there you have it. Healthcare quality management is that silent guardian, constantly working in the background. So the next time you or someone you love is in a hospital, now that you know it's there, what signs of it will you look for?